Yeah, I'm going to start out by wishing everybody a good evening. So it's been a long day. Our players put on their pads at about 11 a.m. Getting ready for this one, and here we are at 7:30. Jimmy still got his pads on, so maybe we'll go for the Guinness Book of World Records here. We'll see if we can, how we can do. But in all seriousness, it was as satisfying of a victory as I have had in my tenure here as the head football coach. I mean, it was a win, and we did it every way you want to win a football game. We did it with offense, we did it with defense, we did it with special teams, we did it by winning the turnover battle, we did it by winning the penalty battle. We were the more disciplined team. We made the plays that needed to be made in critical down and distances, particularly on the fourth downs. We did a great job of winning the red zone. It was just an incredible performance, again, against a team that is very talented. I give credit to Marist. They have a very talented football team. And to be able to get a win with the score differential as wide as it certainly was, and to dominate in that type of fashion is one thing when you're doing it against an NAIA program, but it's a second thing when you're doing it against a team that a lot of people picked to finish second in the PFL. So hats off to our players, how they handled the adversity. We talked a lot last night about focus. We had them, I think, plugged in and ready. I think our coaches did a fabulous job during two really long rain delays or lightning delays. Our players kept their calm, their composure, their enthusiasm, handled the breaks, and came out with an energy that was infectious. And just one element, it just was a snowball effect. The defense would make a play, and then the offense would make a play, and then the special teams unit would come up big. And so it was a great victory. And hopefully, if we can play like this, as I told our players at the end of the game, if we can play with this type of mentality and this type of level of execution, we're going to win a lot of football games in the remainder of the season.
Jimmy, I talked to Coach even right before the game and still weren't sure if you were going to be able to go. What was this week like for you health-wise, and how did it turn out the way it turned out once the game got underway?
Yeah, it was very frustrating this week in practice, but I knew once we got to Saturday, if I was feeling good, I was going to go. I was going to do everything in my power to play today. And we got in warm-ups, and I wasn't going to sit out. There's no way I could sit out this game.
When you just think about the way the offense performed on the whole today, what's the difference between, say, last week and this week for you guys as an offense?
We were executing on all phases. Starting with the whole line, they played outstanding. In the run game, they were opening up everything, and our tailbacks were hitting them, and that makes my job a lot easier when we get to the pass game.
Jimmy, did it affect you at all? Have two delays, over an hour long in the game. How did that affect your play? With the ball being dry, ideal beginning of the game, and just being soaking wet the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's tough coming in here and trying to stay warm, trying to keep your arm loose and all that. But I mean, once we get back out there, it's right back to work, and I think our whole team handled that well.
For the other players, just want to chime in on all the delays, dealing with that. What you guys do during those, and how are you able to kind of overcome a long day?
Yeah, I think that Coach Schick always talks about how it's 10% what happens to you and 90% what you respond to. So we just try to do our part and control what we can control.
Let's talk about the turnovers, just multiple. Just tell me about kind of taking me through those plays.
Well, I mean, on the fumble recovery, I was at the right place at the right time. I saw the ball, picked it up, scoop and score. And the pick, I actually ended up doing the wrong assignment, but I was in the right place, right time, and got the ball. So that's basically it. And then when I got the pick, I was thinking, just slide for the offense. And then I realized we had more than 11 minutes to go. So then I started to run.
Jimmy, just what's it like for the offense when the defense is making those type of plays?
It's great. It keeps our guys up, and I mean, us as an offense, we want to be on the field. We want to give our defense a break, so whenever they get those turnovers, we're just happy to be back on the field and have the ball in our hands.
Coach, what have you seen from Dylan and his ability to come up with a big play?
Oh, he's a playmaker. I mean, that's the first thing that comes, the first word that comes to mind. And he started that, right early on in his first couple of practices. Here was a player that, even though he didn't have quite the grasp of the defensive scheme quite yet, and apparently still doesn't have quite the grasp that he needs, but he makes plays. He made plays in practice, he earned a spot, he moved up the depth chart, and he's made the most of his opportunities, and that's what we need. The turnover ratio, like we had today with the 6 turnovers and only turning it over once in this type of weather, that puts your football team in so many great situations. Just the field position game was so valuable when the rain was coming down, and time again we were able to get out of our own end zone, or out in the shadow of our own end zone, and move the ball, maybe not score, but at least flip the field and put them with their backs against the wall. And when Marist was deep in their own territory, our defense stepped up and made play after play, and got the ball on the ground and made some interceptions. It was great to see.
Alex, you've operated in these type of conditions a couple times now. What's it like to try to do your job when the conditions aren't ideal?
It's definitely more difficult. The ball's going to be slicker, but Coach Snyder does a great job of preparing us and putting us in situations that will make us successful. He was harping all week on getting wet ball drills in, so during practice we'll just use the water fountains and wet the ball so that we're ready for this, because we knew this was coming. And then we just had the game last week against Campbell that was almost like this, but maybe not as bad. But Coach Snyder does a great job preparing us.
How would you assess Alex's performance today?
It's the reason that one of the reasons we won the football game. He was able to go up there and with not just 2 high snaps, but the plays that we had good snaps. He made the punts that needed to flip the field, to be able to get the ball out there. But definitely the 2 high snaps that he was able to bring down while Marist was bringing a huge rush. They were going for the block. And to be able to collect that, go up and get it, wet ball, bring it down, and then get the ball off. He's as big a hero in this game as we have.
You've won games before. This game against the team picked to finish 3rd in the league, and to win it by that final score, as you mentioned. How can this be a turning point for the team and the program?
Well, I think what we've really developed here, and this kind of goes back to last season, I really feel that Brown Field is a tough place to come and play. I think our players do a great job going back to last season. Teams, I think, are learning that if you're going to come to Brown Field, you better bring your A game, because we're going to show up and play at our best. And I think we've shown that dating back to the beginning of last season. We've had some incredibly big wins here over the last 2 years. And even in some of the losses, we played very, very well, but just fell short. So I think that's one of the things that, as a head coach, I believe our program has gotten to the point where I think other teams need to take notice, particularly when they're coming to our place, that it's going to be a tough environment to win a football game.
3 straight PFL home wins going back to the Jacksonville game last year. 1 3 or 4 at home, with the Las Vegas 5-point loss to Duquesne. Jimmy, just what is it that makes Brown Field a good place for you guys to play?
I mean, this is our home. You wouldn't let anyone come into your home and push you around. We take that personal when teams come in here. We just got to show up and protect our house.
It's a Marist team that Valpo had never scored more than 7 points against. And it's a team that's still one of the top 2 teams in the league. What does it say about the progress, coach, of the offense?
Yeah, well, I think it's, again, all 3 phases. Yes, the offense played well, but it was a team effort. Defense scored points, and special teams put us in position to score points, and so it was satisfying. Yes, offensively we stepped up, and it was great to see the balance that we had in our run game and our pass game. Anytime you can rush for over 200 yards and throw for over 200 yards, that's the type of balance that we love. But I think it speaks volumes for this entire football team. I think it was a great win, and it's kind of up the ante, so to speak. Our players understand that this is how we as coaches are going to expect that we play in each of our Final Four